Hello everyone, today I will introduce how to implement the depth first search algorithm in Python. So here, we first need to think about how to represent our graph. Here we use a Python dictionary to represent our graph. And as you can see, each key in the graph will represent the parent node, and each value correspond to the parent node would denote a list of child node, which will cover the leftmost node until the rightmost node. Here I draw a graph in the right panel. As you can see, A is the root node. B is a left node, or we call left child of root node A, and C is the right child of root node A. So the relationship is correctly reflected in our data structure. The same story for node B, C, D, E, F follows the same way in our dictionary. Here we need to create a list to keep track of the visiting node. As you can see, I use a set to keep record of such node. First, let's use our hand to get the correct answer under the depth first search for this tree. So let's first explore the root node, which is node A. At node A, we want to first explore the leftmost child, which is node B. After node B, we don't want to visit node C, which is the sibling node of node B. In contrast, we want to visit node D, which is the leftmost child of node B. In this way, we will visit the tree in a deeper and deeper order. At node D, there are no more children. So we will come back to node B, which is the parent node of node D. And at node B, we found that the other child node of node B is still unvisited. So we come to visit node E. At node D, there is also one child node. So we come to the child node, node F. At node F, we can see that there are no more child nodes. So we will come back to its parent node, node E. In node E, all its children nodes are visited. So we come back to its parent node, node B. Similar thing happens. All children nodes are visited. Finally, we come back to the root node, which is node A. The left subtree of node A is already fully visited. So we will come to the right child of root node A, which is node C. And we can see that the node C is unvisited. So node C will be the last node that we will visit. In summary, our visiting order would be A, B, D, E, F, and C. As you can see in our explanation, we need a list or a set to record the visiting node. So this is the reason why we first create such a set. Okay, let's start writing the code. So the main part of this code is just a function called DFS. So think about the argument of this function, right? So first, we definitely need to include the graph, right, which covers the information of our tree. And we also need the visited list or visited set, which will tell us which nodes are visited. And last, we also need to know which node are we processing. So then we will start writing the code inside the function. When we first call the function DFS, we want the argument of node would be the root node, which will be our node A in this case. So first, as we can see in our explanation, if the node is not in our set, our visited set, right? We will do what? We will print this node. We should also add such node to our visited list, right? So in this way, we can keep track of which nodes are already visited. As next step, we need to also run the DFS algorithm for both children nodes, obviously for all the children nodes of our current node. So what should we do, right? So since there can be many children nodes, so we should write a for loop, right, for each child in the list of children nodes. So how do we represent the list of children nodes? Right? We are given a dictionary, and we can just call the key of this dictionary, and we will get the list of children. We know that we should call the same function, which is the DFS function, for each child of our current node. So how do we do so? We just print, right, the children, the child of the graph, and seems like it can also traverse the graph. So let's see how it will happen. So let's use function called DFS, the graph, visited, and our root node, which is A. Let's see what happened. And you can see that it just produced A, B, C. So what's the problem? The problem is that we should recursively call the function DFS. We just call DFS, right? And the important thing is that we need to know the argument of the DFS function. So the first argument graph will always be same, right? And the second argument visibility should also be same, since right we share the visited list. And the root node A, or we call node, right? If we assume that the argument should be the node itself, so let's see what will happen. So let's call DFS graph visited and root node. So let's see. You can see that it only produces A. So where do we make faults? So the wrong place is that we shouldn't use this node. Instead, we should use help. We have written the most important part of our code, right, which is the DFS function. Now we should just call this function and see how will the result look like. Let's just see. We call DFS, right? DFS, which is the first argument, graph, right, which is second argument, visited, and which is the third node. The third node, as we just claimed, should just be the root node, right? Which is the root node A. So I copy paste most part, and let's see the result. We can see it runs quite fast. So the correct answer should be A, B, D, E, F, C. A, B, D, E, F, C. Our program is successful.